Hi there. This video just shows you what you can do with the data collected by the Postgres SQL mod that you can download from Steam Workshop. What I've done here is taken some GIS software, some geospatial software called ArcGIS OnLine. And so what I'm showing here is a commercial product. This is something you license. So you have the platform called ArcGIS OnLine, and this is specifically what's called Dashboard or ESRI Dashboard, and it was in a real world location. So I had coordinates. That means I can load the data onto a map. The scenario I played was fairly straightforward. I just dumped a sort of blue 4 and OT 4 around these streets, as you can see here, and got them to play out a simple mission. And it was multiplayer, with me being the only human sort of participant. So here you can see all the data that I collected from that. So the top left here got 84 players in total, so it was 83 AI and myself. So it's a fair few numbers. So this is just on my PC. So on my PC, I kicked off the client and went into it in editor, and then kicked it off as a server. So it's all on the one machine, which actually was doing quite a lot of work anyway in the background with various other bits of software. So we'll come to that in a second. And number of positions, that means how many actual positions were recorded. I set it to about 10 seconds, I think it was. I'd have to check the script. So and that timer was trigger was running and just writing out the position of all players approximately every 10 seconds. So it got 4,700 records were recorded, but like I said, there are 84 unique players. Here I've got a list of all the AI characters plus myself there at the top. If I just click on that, it filters the map, you see, and sort of draws this yellow box, and you can see my all the positions that I had during the game. We can zoom in a bit and see. Furthermore, actually, because it's GIS, what I can do is turn on the player path, and now you'll see a line with an arrow sort of showing, you know, where I went, the direction, and all this sort of thing. So I literally joined the dots inside the Postgres database, you see. So there's a bit of messing about over there. Actually, I remember that there were some vehicles and I was trying to take them out. So you get this sort of line path analysis. In addition to that, you can I've set it so you can turn on some other layers. What about the kills? So these are all the kills that took place, and that's not just me. I shall turn off the paths just for a moment. Now if I click on this one at the bottom right, quickest deaths, so who got killed the soonest, if I click on this while these sort of kills are highlighted here, so let's go for this character, you see it highlights that one. So that was where the first sort of kill took place. If I go to that one, and then the second one soon after, so it's 11 seconds, was that character at the top there, you see. So you can just flick through and just see who and when. So the idea is this sort of, actually I can drag this, you get this list of who got shot first or killed first. So that's what you can do with this sort of kills layer. Underneath this list of users, of players, you've also got this pie chart, kills by weapon, so it's all broken down into the different weapons used with a nice little pie chart. But also I've got this idea of the top weapons, the top 3. So the MX3GL, obviously no surprises, almost 6.5. If I click on it, and then on the right hand side bring up the kill chart, this will sort of show a bar chart, and actually that was mainly me. I don't think I armed anyone else with that weapon, that specific one, but anyway, you can do it. But if I go down here, I think, yeah, so there were a few other characters, these 1, 2, 3, these 5, who the AK-74 used the AK-74. So I've got a little breakdown of the top sort of weapons used. Actually, in this sort of box as well, I've got ammo spent. So that's purely on mine. So it was also recording every shot fired. So the way it was working was mainly through events. So I had an event handler, multiple. So I had one on fired, killed, and so between the two I could record all kinds of data. So I specifically the ammo stuff I just collected for myself. You can see exactly you know what it fired there. Fired 81 and 6.5 and 30 from the AK-74, chucked a couple hand grenades and one mini grenade, whatever that is. The sort of ammo spent there is all recorded. Could have been for all characters actually, but I just set it for mine. On the bottom chart here, I recorded FPS as well, so you can see where I kind of kicked off the game and it was all loading against mission tick time. So that's sort of time in seconds of the mission sort of clock ticking away, and you can you know, just see what FPS was like. Again, I recorded it just because I thought I would and see what my machine was like. It actually was pretty smooth, but I had no mods loaded, just the Global Mobilization DLC. So could be a handy thing for feedback, see how your machine's doing. I also set up this action sequence thing, so you can see sort of what the sort of first bits of action actually were in terms of a sort of list. You can see right at the top there, this character from the west frags this other character, and you can see it sort of all the way through. So yeah, so that's the last one. That was me. So I can't do that, but you can actually search on this as well. So if I do slug stuff for me, I can bring up my stuff. You saw the kill chart, average distance, kill distance by weapon. So where there was a kill, what was the average distance? So 90 meters, so quite far away from the 6.5. I think that was mainly me. And then and you can sort of see this little list. So you can see that LMG down there, the RPK 74. There was sort of 9 meters, fairly close action. And then I'll come back to leg control in a second. At the top here, there's a bit about group cohesion. So the idea is, in terms of distance, what was going on, and particularly between players. So I calculated, because I'm in a geospatial database, Postgres, I could work out what the max distance was between any two blue 4 players. And in fact, actually, I think there's no E, is there, in blue 4? I don't think. Anyway. It was between these two, actually myself and this other character. It was 562 meters at one point. So and by clicking on all these various things, we could see them. And the average distance on side west actually was 138 meters. So there was quite a big few gaps opening up. What about total distance traveled? Well, if I go back to this sort of layer thing, I can turn on the player paths. So that's me at the moment. So I must be selected up here still. Yep. So I'll just turn that off for a second. And then I can click on multiple, you see, and see what all these sort of journeys were like. You know, I can look at a few and see what some of this AI did. There's a few sticking together over there. Stick together, team. And that sort of thing. Actually, I can turn off the player positions, so you can really get to grips with the sort of distance and just, you know, what was going on. Just actually on the player positions, this is every single recording, and if I click on one of these, so that's a op4, you get XY coordinates and any other info, weapon they use, side, and all that sort of thing, the time recording, etc. So you get all that as well. I think the only other thing was I've got like a heat map thing going on. So that's like where was the sort of hottest kill zone, you know, where most of the action really took place. You can see it's in that sort of street area there. That's where most kills took place. And that's just another way of displaying these heart symbols for kills. So it's just identifying the focus. So I turn the heat map on, you see. It's a good way to sort of show what's going on. If I turn off all of this, I could do last known positions as well. So this was a last recorded position of any character. So I get the X and Y, and I can, I think there was one other thing I thought, oh yeah, okay, so I've got a sort of geospatial calculation on suspected campers, but I mean, I think you define campers how you want to. I'm not sure it's particularly valid for ARMA 3. I mean, Counter-Strike, yeah, sure. But you may want characters to stay in one position for a while. But that's why they're sort of, I query them really. Are they really campers? So the thought there was, are they, the calculations is done by, they moved the least over the most amount of time. And so that was the sort of idea. So that's how I calculated it. So that's the dashboard. That's one way of using the SQL mod. It can collect all kinds of info, and this is really just an example. Yes, it's commercial software that you pay for, but there's no reason why you can't use the likes of Plotly or NIVO, ChartJS, of course, all these things to bring the data together, because everything is just in a database. And the main thing that drives all of this are my views. So I was putting data in some main tables here. You can see ARMA kills, ARMA shots, and ARMA DB is actually not very well named actually, but that's to do with all the positioning. So everything about the condition positioning. So if I do a quick view of all that, there'll be 4,700 or whatever it was. And so yeah, there you go, 4,734 recorded during those 8 minutes of gameplay. So the DLL performed pretty well, really. And so you get all this information, but I could have recorded a lot more. And then, but like I said, it's the views that do it. And that's where all these calculations are really taking place in order to surface some patterns and things like that. So I've got one for ammo efficiency, make the pass, suspected campers, you know, that sort of thing, camping score. What about the weapon kill ranking? If we have a look at that. So, you know, I just look at the weapon used and pull out the order by the number of kills per weapon in order up to 3. So I just pull the sort of top 3. So you can see it's the views really about, but that's the point of this mod. It gives you the power of the database in order to make use of your data. I've used this as a post mission, a debriefing type tool to really analyze and see what went on. But it can also be used for actually as part of a mission, you know, like I said, inventories and all that sort of thing, random mission objectives, spawning, all kinds. But yeah, anyway, I hope you find that useful. Thanks.